This is bechamel, one of the 5 great mother sauces. Not only will I teach you how to make bechamel sauce, but I'll show you how to transform that one sauce into 5 new sauces to add to your cooking arsenal. There are technically 5 mother sauces based on French cuisine, and I have them all listed in my massive culinary books from culinary school. Now, you don't need to go to culinary school to understand these sauces because you've probably eaten them and or have made them in your everyday life. The 5 mother sauces are as follows: bechamel, velouté, espagnole, tomato, and hollandaise, otherwise known as hot mayonnaise. But the one that I want to focus on today for this video is the bechamel sauce. It's probably one of my favorites, and you can use it in multiple ways, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can use one sauce to make 5. A bechamel sauce is basically milk thickened with flour and butter, otherwise known as roux. It's also one of the easiest of the base mother sauces because it comes together relatively quickly. All you need is 2 tablespoons of whole unsalted butter. Get in there. I'm gonna gently melt this down. Now, while this is melting down on the other stove, I'm gonna be heating up some milk right here. Like I had mentioned, bechamel is a very basic thickened milk sauce. So I have 2 cups of whole milk going into my pot. Alternatively, you could use heavy cream, which I do in quite a few of my own personal recipes, but I'll always cut the heavy cream with milk, otherwise it's just too rich. To the milk, I'm adding a half an onion just to give it a little bit of flavor. You can over season this, so you really don't wanna put in too much. We're only just heating up the milk slightly here. This video is definitely inspired by this mother sauce recipe from Chef Jack and Chef Will. I highly recommend you go watch their video as well because it's a great base on how to make mother sauces. But in this video, we're gonna deep dive into one mother sauce and then follow up with the other mother sauces later. So while this is heating up, I'm gonna bring the butter back over here. Now, once my butter is lightly melted, this is where I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of flour. So it's basically a 1-to-1 mixture of flour and butter. Now, traditionally, according to my textbooks from culinary school, it says to use clarified butter. There's no reason to use clarified butter. When you make clarified butter, you're essentially removing the milk solids, which have a ton of flavor. And I've never had a chef ask me to use clarified butter for a mother sauce outside of culinary school. Quick note, you will need clarified butter for hollandaise later on in the series. I mostly meant for this bechamel. Now, this is kind of totally up to you, but when you make a roux for a bechamel, it should be a white roux, or you can go as far as a blonde roux, which just means it's slightly brown. Since we're making a traditional bechamel, I'm going to be making this into a nice white roux instead. So this means I'm not cooking it for very long. We're just trying to get it to smell nice and toasty. Now, this is as far as I'm going to take this roux. It looks like wet lava sand, kind of like that kinetic sand you can buy that never really holds its shape. It's really cool looking. Now, once my milk is nice and hot, I'm just gonna remove this giant onion so I don't have to fight it. And I'm going to turn the heat back on my roux, but I'm not going to crank it up too much. I'm going to slowly start adding in my milk. This way, I don't really have to add too much of it and start fighting the milk. This will allow a couple of things. It'll allow me to realistically break down that roux so it incorporates really well into the milk, but also adding in hot milk will prevent the roux from seizing up. I've actually had this happen way too many times until I realized you do need to have the milk hot. Pro tip, also just grab a whisk. It's gonna start breaking all of this up. As long as you're not too aggressive with it, you're not gonna incorporate much air into that milk at all. I'm gonna add in the rest of the milk. Continue adding this until it gets to a nice nappe consistency. And that just means it's gonna coat the back of the spoon, and I'll show you what that means in just a second. Now I'm gonna be seasoning this with just a pinch of salt because we're going to be turning this into 4 other sauces. You don't wanna over season it right now. I'm also throwing in just a little bit of black pepper. Gonna use a spatula to make sure it's fully scraped. I'm gonna turn this off because it's starting to thicken up really nicely. Now, once the sauce has thickened, you can see what it starts to look like right now. This is when I'm actually going to strain my sauce. This is how I've been taught, but straining it is not necessary. This just makes it super, super nice and smooth. And one of my textbooks actually says to put this through cheesecloth, which I think is kind of overkill. But this is just the base sauce. We're gonna turn this into 4 other sauces. Now, the first variation of the bechamel is going to be a shallot bechamel, or a caramelized shallot bechamel in this case. This is one of my favorite versions of bechamel. I used to use this on a buffet line when we would serve things like quiche, which I have a piece in my little oven over there. I'm gonna take just a little bit of my bechamel and put it into a separate pot. This way I can keep this one as plain and simple as possible. Earlier, I had caramelized some really beautiful shallots with just a little bit of sugar, salt, and pepper. And these are going to go directly into the bechamel. And I like to load this thing up so this way you have a ton of that shallot flavor. Now, this doesn't actually need to heat up, oh God, that's so loud. Now, this doesn't actually need to heat up too much because our bechamel was already warm. I'm just gonna be mixing this very lightly. So now we have this really beautiful caramelized shallot bechamel. So with 2 more ingredients, well, technically 1, the caramelized shallots, we now have this. Honestly, put a little bit of this on a grilled cheese sandwich and you're in heaven. But in my case, since I haven't had breakfast yet, I'm gonna be putting it on this beautiful quiche. I actually made this for Christmas and it's a little bit of leftover, so I'm pretty stoked to eat this. Gandalf, it's not for you, sir. I'm gonna take some of my shallot bechamel and we're just gonna put it right on the center of this. This can be very rich, so you can put as much or as little as you want on here. A little bit of fresh thyme right on top, thyme that's going to be used for another sauce. And there's one of my favorite ways of using bechamel. Caramelized shallot bechamel. You know what's also really good on? This is a burger. Normally you just put like caramelized shallots on a burger, which is fantastic, but just try this on a burger. I promise, no Gandalf, not for you. You can't have this one. This is mine. Mine, Gat. You can observe from there, sir. Caramelized shallot bechamel and something or other quiche that I made. I don't even remember what's in here. Cheers. Oh my God. The creaminess of the bechamel completely changes what this quiche tastes like. And it's fantastic. But now we're gonna go to sauce number 3, one of them that I think everyone here will use. Now, once again, I'm only going to be using 2 ingredients to make this next variation of a bechamel. Why do I keep messing up the way bechamel? It's gonna be just a little bit of the bechamel one more time, and then cheddar cheese. This is just some straight up shredded cheddar cheese from Tillamook out here in Oregon. This is also classified technically as a Mornay sauce. Turn the heat back on and quickly stir this together. Now, the one difference in this versus the shallot is that this might thicken up a little bit more depending on your cheese. Since I did opt to use a shredded cheddar, which does have a decaking agent, and that decaking agent actually can thicken up liquids more often than if you were to shred your own cheese, I just have to pay attention to it. So I'm just lightly melting this cheese into this bechamel. You can also put in as much cheese as you want. You do you, I don't care. But you can see how quickly I have made a cheese sauce. Look at that, throw that on some nachos, maybe on some pasta if you wanna be fancy, but honestly, just eat it with some Olive Garden breadsticks and you'll probably be happy. Now, I'm actually pretty happy with this consistency for certain things. Like if I wanted to put this on a cheeseburger, I think all of these sauces are gonna be good on a burger. But this might be a little bit too thick for different applications. So while this version is fantastic for sandwiches or things like that, it might be a little harder to use for pasta. So if you were making pasta, I highly encourage to actually have you use the pasta water to thin out your cheese sauce. Since I don't have pasta ready, I just have a little bit of warm water here that I'm going to add in very, very small amounts. Stir this back up until I get this beautiful cheese sauce consistency that I want. Now, once you have your desired consistency for whatever you're going to be using, whether or not it's for a sandwich or for pasta, and in this case, this is now ready to be tossed with a beautiful pasta. The cheese sauce is done, and that's sauce number 3. Gandalf, you like cheese sauce, don't you? Yeah, you can't have that one, buddy. It has like pepper and salt and stuff. Here, you know what? Because they always yell at me. Hold on, no, don't stick your face in that, please, sir. I got you a piece. Sit, okay. Hey, be nice. Sit all the way. You know what? You can't see it anymore. Sit. That's okay. Here you go. Extra cheese. Sauce number 4. Super, super easy. Bechamel sauce. Don't collapse on me, thank you. A bunch of fresh herbs, and in this case, I'm using some fresh chopped thyme. A bit more black pepper right on top, some sea salt or any kind of salt. Honestly, I have some habanero salt, that could be super fun. I have some black garlic salt, which could be amazing in this. Give this a stir, make sure it's nice and warm, and this sauce is fantastic on poultry. It's also amazing with potatoes. In particular, like a baby potato or something a little bit smaller. We would use this on a buffet line. What we would do is take a small layer of this sauce and put it on the bottom of a small tray or a small bowl, and then put the potatoes on top of that, and the potatoes would just naturally carry some of that sauce when someone goes to scoop them on the buffet line. And that's it, herb sauce. Now the goal is to keep these really basic for what you're adding to it. This way you could keep a small thing of bechamel in your fridge and add things to it as you see fit. That's why it's called a mother sauce. It spawns other sauces. And now that I say it out loud, it's kind of like an alien thing, and I'm okay with that. Oh, it's fantastic. I'm gonna be so sick after eating this much bechamel. Now it's time for the 5th sauce, but I do have one bonus sauce that I wanna show you. Now this 5th sauce is fantastic and it's a huge flavor bomb because while we're using bechamel, I have something super secret here in this aluminum foil. It's just roasted garlic. It's just roasted garlic with olive oil and some salt. But the ratio for this is going to be very different than the other 4 sauces we've done so far. I'm using about 6 cloves of roasted garlic. This roasted garlic actually comes from our roasted garlic sauce recipe in today's sponsor, Cooking with Chaos. Cooking with Chaos is a collection of 60 different modular recipe cards that you can mix and match to make different foods and meals every single time. It's very similar in the philosophy of making these mother sauces where we can take a single sauce and turn it into 5 or 6, 7 or 8 different sauces. With Cooking with Chaos, I had that same philosophy as I've been creating this over the last 3 years. You can pick from 20 different proteins, 20 different side dishes, and 20 different sauces, a lot of which do follow the traditional hot cuisine, but really created for you guys at home to play with. One of the coolest features of this is there's a roll for dinner mechanic, which is this number up here. You can roll a 20-sided dice and just make whatever the dice tells you to make for each category. From there, see if you like that combination. See if playing with your food really hit different that night. But honestly, I love using this for Rachel and I, my wife. Sometimes she'll pick a card, I'll pick a card, and we'll make that combination together. A lot of my friends have used this with their kids, and it's a fun way to get them involved in cooking. If you want to pre-order Cooking with Chaos, you can do it at the link down below. And when you do, you're going to get the first edition of Cooking with Chaos. That's going to come with 3 mystery cards, which are from a future expansion pack. Gandalf, do you like Cooking with Chaos? Yeah. That's your favorite. So thank you guys so much for supporting Cooking with Chaos so far. And for those of you who have already ordered, all of the artwork is with the printing factory. So hopefully we're getting these packs soon that we can send out to everybody. Head over to cookingwithchaos.gg at the link down below and get your first edition set today. Gandalf, how did you get up there? You evaded the eggs. Okay. A lot of you ask why there's a clamp up there. That's why there's a clamp up there. Now let's make this roasted garlic bechamel. I have all of my garlic cloves in there. It's like 6 cloves of roasted garlic. And essentially, I'm doing 1 part roasted garlic, 1 part bechamel. Probably just like a spoonful of this. Turn this on a very, very low heat. I'm just gonna use the back of the spoon to break down the garlic into the bechamel. If you're making a bunch of this, you can throw this into a blender. It works really, really well. The reason why I like having a 1-to-1 ratio of roasted garlic to bechamel is because then I can spread it on, you guessed it, a burger. You know how amazing that sounds? Giant roasted garlic bechamel on like a 6-ounce Angus burger with all the fixins. Maybe you also amp it up and fry up some of those little onions, you know, throw those on top of there. Maybe some bacon to go along with the garlic. Oh God, that sounds amazing. For the roasted garlic sauce, this bechamel is essentially just holding together 6 cloves of roasted garlic. What you can absolutely do with this amazing concoction is put this on some baked salmon right before you serve it, and then maybe just torch it, just lightly, just, I'm telling you, cheers. The punch of garlic is there, it's very strong, but because it's roasted, it's not overwhelming and it's slightly sweet. There are 6 cloves of garlic in this spoonful. Do you not want that? But those are the 5 sauces I had promised you. Now it's time to make a bonus sauce. Now, because I truly believe in playing with your food, and that's how we have come to all of the amazing recipes around the world, by truly experimenting with the things we've made, this is how I'm going to make the bonus sauce with this 20-sided die. The 20-sided die. There's only 1. I had to write this part down because I'm not that smart. The roasted garlic bechamel is a 1 through 4. The cheese sauce is a 5 through 8. The shallots are a 9 through 12. The herbs are a 13 through 16. And the OG is a 17 through 20. We're gonna roll a D20 twice. We're gonna combine those 2 and just see what happens. Here we go. We rolled a 10, the shallot sauce. So we're gonna take equal parts of the shallot, put it in our bowl. Now we roll for the combo. We rolled a 2, which means the garlic bechamel. This is gonna be the strongest bechamel on the planet. Now we're gonna be mixing these 2 together, and I probably should have warmed these up. This paste would still be amazing on a sandwich. Look at how thick that is. Probably should be a little warmer, but that's fine. This is the all new bechamel. Bechamel sauce number 6. Cheers. It works. It's so good. It's so strong, but it's delicious. Gandalf, you wanna let them know if they wanna pick up Cooking with Chaos? They can pick it up at the link down below at cookingwithchaos.gg. I'm gonna be exploring the other mother sauces in this series, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. But if you wanna see me make a flavor bomb, click or tap right over here. My name is Paul, and remember, keep playing with your food. Right, Gandalf? Why are you staring at me like that, bro?